Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Students, today we are going to start our last chapter of economics A level. That is chapter number 10, Government's Macroeconomic Intervention. In our last chapter, we studied the macroeconomy in detail, how national income can be measured and what are the different statistics which are used to measure the living standard of the countries. Okay. So now we are going to study how government intervention will make the macroeconomic objectives to be achieved. Okay. The main task of any macroeconomist is to design the macroeconomic policies in order to overcome the macroeconomic problems. What are the macroeconomic problems? Basically, when the macroeconomic objectives of the government they are not achieved, they will become the macroeconomic problems. Okay. Like if economic growth is not achieved by the government, whatever the target they have set, it is not achieved. So in that case, what is going to happen? There will be a problem of even boom or recession. Okay. If government has set a certain target of inflation rate, and if it is unachievable, that prices are growing faster than the government target, then we will be finding inflation as a macroeconomic problem. An unemployment level at the rate of unemployment should also be under the control, under the target of the government, that they should reduce the unemployment level and the rate of unemployment should be very less, that more and more efforts of human beings they should be utilized in order to achieve more economic growth. But when we find that unemployment is not under the control of the government, it is having a larger figure of the labor force, so it will also become a macroeconomic problem. So we studied our macroeconomic problems of domestic economy or closed economy. They are of three nature. One is macroeconomic growth, even there is going to be boom or recession. Another is price instability, prices are unstable. And the third one, that is unemployment if it is growing over the period of time. These three are called the macroeconomic problems. And two, on the external front, on the external outlook of the country, there is a macroeconomic problem of balance of payment disequilibrium. When balance of payment deficit is arising over the period of time and it is continuously rising, then we say macroeconomic problem is emerging in the economy as a balance of payment on its external outlook. And exchange rate instability, like exchange rate is fluctuating, it is either depreciating or appreciating, so that is causing more internal and external effects on the economy. Internally, currency can become weaker when there is exchange rate depreciation, and externally it will make our balance of payment or balance of trade into a different direction. Either it is going to have deficit or it is going to have a surplus, so that will affect us. So these macroeconomic problems, they need to be addressed by the macroeconomist. So macroeconomist's task is to design the macroeconomic policies in order to overcome these macroeconomic problems. So mainly the economists, they are designing the macroeconomic policies. We studied them in detail in our AS level syllabus, the last chapter of AS, in which we talked about demand side policies, fiscal and monetary policy, and at the same time we studied exchange rate policy. So all these policies, they were designed in order to overcome the macroeconomic problems. When they are not going to be achieved according to the target, then government will be asking the Ministry of Finance, the fiscal policy planners, they will be designing the fiscal policy, or central bank in order to design the macroeconomic policy or monetary policy or exchange rate policy, or there can be supply side policies. So all these policies, they are also the part of A2 but I'm not going into detail of every policy. You can study them from your AS level chapter number 5, that is having more details, or the upcoming lessons of AS level on YouTube. They will also be telling you how macroeconomic policies can be analyzed. So today I am going to do with the last chapter, and there is a point, there is a topic, a small topic, internal and external value of currency. So what do we mean by internal value of currency and its external value? Internal value means its purchasing power. Its purchasing power within the country, how many goods and services can be purchased at given price level or at current year price level, that is called the internal value of currency. So when we talk about internal value of currency, so it tells us the purchasing power of currency, how many goods and services could be purchased at current year price level, that is called internal value. So external value of currency is its exchange rate. How exchange rate will be affected due to the changes in internal value of currency first of all, or due to the external changes in the external trade of the country that will affect us, that will affect our external value of currency. So basically, internal value of currency can affect the external value of exchange rate, or the external currency value will also be affecting the internal purchasing power. So these two values are interlinked with each other. If we find inflation in our country, so here I am finding the rupees, quantity of rupees, and here I am finding the exchange rate. So this is demand of our currency in international market, this is supply of our currency in international market. So when we find inflation in our domestic market, or internally, internal value of currency will decrease, internal value of rupees will fall. That means its purchasing power will decrease. It is becoming weaker internally. By any reason, inflation is rising. So when our price level is increasing, our export demand will be decreasing. Foreigners, they will be taking our exports more expensive. They are not going to buy it from us. They are not going to buy our goods. So what happens when our exports are decreasing? When exports are decreasing, what is going to happen to the demand of our currency in international market? If this was our exchange rate 1, now demand of our currency in international market, that is declining, and now we find that exchange rate, the less foreign currency will be required to exchange our currency, our rupees. So what happens when exports are falling, demand of our currency will be decreasing. On the other hand, what happens when our inflation rate is increasing? People are going to buy more of imported goods. So imports demand will increase. People will switch over to the imported goods. They will try to buy more of the imported goods because they think that their cost of living will be decreasing if they are buying more of the imported goods rather than the domestically produced goods. So in that case, our currency supply, rupees will be exchanged with foreign exchange. So we see the supply in international market that will be decreasing. That will be putting pressure on our exchange rate to further decrease. So instead of here, now we find our exchange rate to E3. So our currency is becoming weaker in its external value. Our currency will be depreciating in its external exchange rate because of our domestic weakness of the currency. When inflation is increasing, so it is making our currency internally weaker, which is linked with its external value as well. Due to decrease in the internal value of currency, it will also become weaker in its exchange rate in international market. So both the values, they are interlinked with each other. Internal value of currency and external value of currency. Now come to the other side of the picture. If first of all currency becomes weaker in international market, like because of more financial outflow, because of more hard money outflow, when currency is going out of the country, like foreign exchange is flying from our country to the rest of the world, because the high rate of interest is available in international market rather than in our domestic market, that will again making our exchange rate weaker. Our currency will become again weaker and it will be depreciating. And due to more depreciation, what is happening? We will find the imported raw material or oil imports, they will become expensive in terms of local currency. So when currency becomes weaker in its external market, it will become weaker as well in the domestic market. It will be causing exchange rate depreciation, inflation. When our currency is becoming depreciated in its external market, it will be causing the domestic value of currency to decrease. So both internal and external values of currency, they are interlinked with each other. Either it becomes weaker internally, first of all, it will create its external value to decrease. Or other way around is that when external value of currency is depreciating, it will be causing the domestic inflation and its domestic value or purchasing power will also be declining. And you know what is meant by the J curve? You have studied it in your AS level. There is Marshall-Lerner condition that price elasticity of exports plus price elasticity of imports both should be greater than 1. Then the depreciation of currency, then the depreciation or weakness of our currency in international market will help us to be out of the trade deficit. If a country is facing balance of trade deficit, so it will be out of this deficit when this Marshall-Lerner condition is fulfilled. Like our foreign price elasticity of exports plus price elasticity of imports, both in combined they are greater than 1. Like exports are elastic, so the depreciation of exchange rate will make our exports more competitive. So when they are more competitive in international market, their demand along the curve will be growing and we will be able to earn more export revenue due to increase in the export demand in international market. And if imports are having less elasticity, even we find this thing that the increase in export revenue is far greater than the increase in import expenditures, then our overall balance of trade will be coming out of the deficit. When we find this thing that the combined elasticity of price elasticity of exports and price elasticity of imports, they are both greater than 1, then in that case we will be finding that the appreciation of our exchange rate will help us to be out of this deficit if this condition is fulfilled. Marshall-Lerner condition is fulfilled. And if Marshall-Lerner condition is unfulfilled, so in that case depreciation of exchange rate will not help us to be out of deficit, rather it will be further increasing the deficit. Okay, that's about our internal and external value of currency and how will it affect our balance of trade or balance of payment when Marshall-Lerner condition is fulfilled. And you can also reverse the same concept when our exchange rate is appreciating and our country is facing balance of payment or balance of trade surplus problem. So in that case, that surplus can only be decreased if again this Marshall-Lerner condition is fulfilled. Otherwise, appreciation will be further increasing our balance of trade surplus if Marshall-Lerner condition is not fulfilled. So on both the way, we should be learning how exchange rate is affecting our balance of trade and how internal and external values of currency, they are interlinked with each other. And there is a small thing, small rule of thumb in case of macroeconomic policies, first I am going to define that. I can conclude your syllabus today by completing Phillips curve, but I will leave it for tomorrow, that you will be better understanding the concept. There is one rule, Tinbergen rule. What is this rule? You see, when government adopts fiscal policy to overcome macroeconomic problem of unemployment, like reflationary fiscal policy is adopted, in which government spending is increasing and taxes are falling. So aggregate demand will be increasing in the economy. So when aggregate demand increases, here I am finding the real GDP and there is the price level. This is aggregate demand. This is short-term aggregate supply and drawing. So what is happening when government spending has increased, aggregate demand will rise. Okay. An economy is able to reduce unemployment because labor demand will increase in the labor market. Although economy is able to reduce unemployment, but it is going to have overheating in the form of inflation. We find when government is able to overcome the macroeconomic problem of unemployment, it is finding another macroeconomic problem to arise in future due to its budget deficit, and now it is going to borrow money from the central bank. So what we find that when government is able to overcome macroeconomic problem of unemployment, it is causing inflation. So according to this rule, Tinbergen's rule, he argued that in order to control one of the macroeconomic objectives, there should be a single policy. In order to reduce unemployment, we can use reflationary fiscal policy, but as a result, inflation is present. So we cannot control both the macroeconomic problems simultaneously. So in order to reduce inflation, there should be a separate macroeconomic policy rather than to have again the reflationary fiscal policy. So the reduction of inflation, that should be through monetary policy rather than the fiscal policy, because fiscal policy is now used for controlling unemployment. So in order to control inflation, there should be monetary deflationary policy. In that way, we will be able to overcome both the macroeconomic problems. So Tinbergen rule is that for every specific macroeconomic problem, there should be a single macroeconomic policy. We cannot use all the economic objectives to be achieved by a single policy. A single demand side policy cannot achieve all of the macroeconomic objectives. Rather, we should be using a separate or single macroeconomic policy for a single macroeconomic problem. So macroeconomic problem, each macroeconomic problem can only be achieved by a specific single macroeconomic policy. One policy cannot achieve all the macroeconomic problems. So for every problem there should be a specific single policy. This is our Tinbergen rule. So in order to achieve all the macroeconomic objectives, there should be the separate macroeconomic policies introduced in order to have more achievement of macroeconomic objectives. So this is about our internal and external value currency and Tinbergen rule. Now the next topic of this chapter is only the Phillips curve and Laffer curve. and government implementation lags. I will be concluding them by tomorrow, because if I conclude it within 20 minutes, you will be able to finish your chapter, but Phillips curve will be making it more difficult for you people. If I start it now, because it has two types, one is short run Phillips curve, another is called long run expectation augmented Phillips curve. So I don't want to disturb that topic today. Tomorrow inshallah we will be concluding our syllabus. So that's all for today. I hope you will be able to understand the things of your last chapter and go through the macroeconomic policies from your 5th chapter of AS level.